Okay, so get this. We are diving deep into Blackwood Manor today. And wow, let me tell you this novel, Shadows of Blackwood Manor, it's got me a little spooked already.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Raven's Hollow, the town where the manor is it just feels so isolated and eerie.
Right. Like cut off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you've got the manor itself, tragic family, whispers of witchcraft, haunting rumors. It's like a recipe for a sleepless night.
It's interesting, though, how the author sets up this feeling of dread right away. Raven's Hollow being isolated, it immediately creates that separation.
Right, like you're not in Kansas anymore.
Exactly. And then you've got Elena Drake, who is our main character.
Mhm.
She's an investigative journalist, but she's drawn to Blackwood Manor, and it's not just for the story. It feels almost like a personal pull.
That's what got me. I was like, why is she so obsessed with this place? Is it just the truth, or is there something darker driving her?
Yeah, if you look at her, she always chases the unexplained. It's almost like she's looking for something in herself through these mysteries, you know?
I like that. Okay, there's this one line that really freaked me out. It's when the Ancestors' Journal talks about the clock striking 13 and the souls of the damned rising.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just the image of them rising, it's the idea that time is messed up there.
Times is broken.
Yeah, like Blackwood Manor exists outside of reality or something.
It really throws you off balance right away. Is it a literal curse, or is it the Blackwood family's actions echoing through time? The author blends that so well.
And it makes you wonder, why are we so drawn to these creepy stories? Is it because it lets us face our fears, but safely?
That's a good point.
Or maybe it's the thrill of the unknown, even if it's fake.
Right.
So we've got this really unsettling atmosphere. Then Elena starts digging into the history of Blackwood Manor, and it turns out it was the symbol of wealth and success.
Yeah, it makes the downfall so much more dramatic.
Totally. Like you see glimpses of this happy past, and then bam, tragedy strikes, and it keeps happening. It's like a slow motion train wreck.
It's almost like a Greek tragedy.
Right. But it wasn't just bad luck, right? There were those rumors of witchcraft, forbidden rituals. It's like they invited the darkness themselves.
And then the youngest daughter vanishes, and the rumors of the curse explode. It's as if their ambition, their greed, it all backfired and unleashed something they couldn't control.
Okay, so we have this family seemingly at the heart of this curse. Then Elena shows up, ready to take on the manor's secrets. The way the author describes her first visit, it's perfect. The stillness, the fog rolling in, it's like the manor is sizing her up.
Waiting.
Yeah, like it knows she's there to uncover the truth.
And she doesn't back down.
Yeah.
She finds this secret wing hidden for centuries. It's described as a tomb frozen in time.
A hidden staircase, a crypt. It's so creepy. What I found really chilling was how the manor seemed to reflect the family's downfall. The opulence is decaying, the grand rooms are filled with dust. It's like a physical manifestation of their fall from grace.
It's more than just the physical space, though, right? It's the atmosphere, the unseen presence, the feeling that someone or something is watching her, judging her.
Oh my gosh, that part where she sees the pale face, I practically jumped out of my skin. It's so quick, but it reinforces that the manor is alive, aware, maybe even malevolent.
Right. And then the story gets even deeper. Elena finds diaries, letters, accounts that expose the family's darkest secrets.
So the curse isn't just a legend, it's real. It's rooted in their choices.
Yeah, it's like they summoned this darkness and now it's part of the manor itself.
But here's the thing, as Elena gets closer to the truth, she starts having these vivid hallucinations.
Oh, yeah.
It blurs the line between what's real and what's a nightmare. Can you imagine being surrounded by all that chilling history? Wouldn't you start to question your own sanity?
Absolutely. It makes you think, is the curse messing with her, or is the weight of the manor's history just warping her mind?
And then just when you think she's losing it, she decides to fight back. She finds the ritual to break the curse, and she's going to do it.
That's a turning point for her. She's not just watching anymore. She's going to confront the darkness.
It all builds to this moment in the chapel, this space filled with sorrow, and then bam, the cursed patriarch appears. It's not just a ghost sighting, it's this clash between Elena's will and centuries of pain.
Wow.
And then he demands a sacrifice, something she can't just give up. She has to let go of her deepest fear. It's terrifying, but also so brave.
It's a huge moment.
Yeah.
And that's where we have to leave it. For now, Elena is standing on the edge, ready to face her demons and challenge the curse of Blackwood Manor.
Last time we left, Elena about to face her deepest fear, standing right there with the cursed patriarch of Blackwood Manor. It was so intense. I don't know how she's going to pull this off.
This is where it gets really good. Elena's not just fighting a ghost, right? She's facing the entire weight of the Blackwood family's tragedy.
I know, it's like centuries of pain and regret all focused on her.
Right.
And the way their dialogue plays out, it reveals so much about him. He's not just evil. He's trapped, tormented by his own actions.
Oh, absolutely. He wants to know why she's disturbing him, and her answer is so powerful.
It blew me away. Instead of trying to get rid of him, she offers him peace.
Release.
Yes. She acknowledges his suffering and gives him a chance to break free from the manor. It's not about force or rituals, it's about understanding and even empathy.
Wow, that's a good point.
But of course, the manor itself isn't happy about this. It starts to react violently, like it's mirroring the patriarch's rage.
The author does such a great job blending the physical and the psychological. It's not just the manor shaking, it's Elena's internal struggle, too.
It's like the house is using her fears against her childhood nightmares, her losses, everything.
I think it's trying to break her.
Exactly. And that's where her sacrifice comes in. She has to let go of her deepest fear, but it's not some object or memory. It's the fear that's been holding her back her whole life.
This is where the story goes beyond just ghosts. It's about facing our inner demons.
Right.
The Blackwoods were driven by fear of losing their power, fear of the unknown, and it destroyed them. Elena's choosing to do the opposite.
Okay, so she performs the ritual, lets go of her fear. What happens? Does the manor turn back into this beautiful place?
Not quite. It's more like a cleansing.
Yeah.
A huge release of energy. The author describes this blinding light, the manor shaking like it's expelling the darkness. And for a moment, all those trapped souls, they feel peace.
I can just imagine it. It gives me chills. It's not about defeating evil. It's about bringing peace to everyone who suffered there. But what about the patriarch?
He starts to disappear, his cries fading as the light goes out. The author doesn't say for sure whether he's destroyed or just freed. But that oppressive feeling, that evil presence, it's gone.
So Elena wins. The curse is broken.
She changes things. The manor is still there with all its history. But the cycle of torment is broken. But the story doesn't end there. The epilogue throws in a twist.
I love a good epilogue. What happens?
Raven's Hollow starts to heal. The people feel hope. But Elena is forever changed. She carries the weight of everything she saw and learned. She decides to write it all down to make sure the past isn't forgotten.
It's like she's taking responsibility for the manor's legacy. But she's also offering hope, right? That even the darkest places can find peace.
Exactly. But then in the last few lines, the author adds this doubt. Elena hears a whisper, this feeling that maybe she didn't get rid of the curse completely. Like it's just sleeping, waiting.
Oh, wow. That's creepy. It makes you wonder, did Elena really win, or is Blackwood Manor just biding its time?
It makes you think about the nature of curses.
Yeah.
Whether darkness can ever truly be destroyed, or if it just changes, adapts.
It all comes back to our original question. What makes Blackwood Manor so captivating? Maybe it's not just the ghosts, but the idea that some places hold a darkness that can never be erased.
And that darkness speaks to our own fears, our own capacity for evil.
Okay, I am officially spooked now. But you know what else struck me? Elena's transformation. She went from journalist to almost like a guardian of memory, a chronicler of the supernatural.
That's interesting. It makes you wonder what happens to someone who sees the abyss. Are they changed forever? And how do they live with that knowledge?
So many questions. But we have to talk about the villagers. The people who lived right next to Blackwood Manor for centuries. Their story is just as important.
Absolutely. Their lives have been shaped by the manor's presence. And that's where we'll pick up next time for the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we dove deep into Elena's story, her journey into the heart of Blackwood Manor, but we can't forget about the people who lived right next to this place. The villagers of Raven's Hollow, they lived in the shadow of the manor for generations.
Like Blackwood Manor becomes this huge presence in their lives.
Right, it's not just a scary story for them, it's a part of their reality, their history.
And the author talks about Raven's Hollow having this atmosphere of fear and fascination all mixed together.
It makes sense though, right? When something scares you, you also kind of want to know more about it. It's like a weird attraction.
Absolutely. Fear can make you curious. And for the villagers, maybe that fascination is how they deal with living so close to something so unsettling.
Imagine growing up with all those stories, those rumors. It would be impossible to ignore.
I know, right? And then Elena shows up wanting to solve the mystery. It must cause quite a stir.
Right. They've been told to leave the manor alone their whole lives, and here comes this outsider ready to stir things up.
It definitely would create some tension, some pushback.
But then, after Elena does her thing, the atmosphere in Raven's Hollow changes. The villagers actually feel it. They start to believe that the curse is really gone.
And that brings up the whole idea of Hope and belief, right? They want peace. They want to be free from the fear.
Yeah.
But is their hope real, or are they fooling themselves?
Because even Elena isn't sure if the curse is really gone. Remember, she thinks it might just be dormant.
Exactly. And the novel doesn't give us a clear answer, which I think is really interesting. It's like in real life, sometimes we just don't know for sure. We have to live with the uncertainty.
It makes you think, is it better to know the truth even if it's scary, or to just believe in something good even if you can't prove it?
I don't know. It's a tough question. Maybe for the villagers, believing that the curse is gone is enough, even if they can't be 100% certain.
And then there's Elena's decision to share her story. She wants to warn people, but is she also giving them more to worry about?
Right. Like, is she opening up old wounds?
Mhm.
It's a delicate balance.
This whole deep dive has been amazing. We started with a haunted house, and now we're talking about fear, belief, the need to understand things even when they don't make sense.
It just shows how powerful stories can be.
So to everyone listening, we have to ask, if you lived in Raven's Hollow, would you believe the curse was truly broken? Or would you always be looking over your shoulder?
Here's one last thing to think about. What if the real curse wasn't a ghost or a spirit, but the fear itself? The fear that keeps us trapped. The fear that keeps us from moving on.
Wow, that's a powerful thought. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone. And remember, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the stories that make you think.